Page 17, Song of India. This lesson is having to do with slurring. Kind of opens a can of worms, but we'll talk about it when I get to the articulation, because slurring is part of articulation. So I'm just going to go through the process I used to learn a piece of music. I look it over, it's about a page long. Now it's actually longer than that because of the repeat signs, but there's about a page of music to learn, and that's what I'm talking about. Clef signs at the beginning are treble and bass clef. One sharp in the key signature, so we're in the key of G major. Go do the G major scale if you're doing scales. And 3/4 time signature. But you'll notice that first measure only has 2 counts in it. So we're coming in on beat 2. That means there has to be another beat somewhere. If you look at the end at the bottom, there's 1 count in that measure, so we're okay. Let's take them one hand at a time because this is getting tricky. Right hand, they want you to start here. Here, we're going to move around now. It's 2 and 3 and. Remember, we're coming on beat 2. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. And they want here. I don't recommend it. A couple of things wrong. Now, if you have small hands, it doesn't matter if you come up here. You fit. But with bigger hands and fat fingers, this doesn't work. We want to stay out here as much as possible. So what I need to do is reach down and do that. 2 on that. And then thumb. Makes it easier to connect it anyway. So again, that second measure is 1 and 2. And I don't want to use thumb again. I don't want to go here. No. So I'm going to reach over and use 2. Then I can use thumb. And next measure again for the E flat is going to finger it with 2 like I did the A flat. Like so. So I'm altering the fingering just a little bit. It helps me to connect the note and it helps me to keep my hand out here. Now there are teachers who insist you don't change the fingering in the book, you use that. I disagree. It's only a suggestion. However, you do it the way your teacher is telling you to do it. Just understand that a different teacher might tell you different. At the end of the first line, this is actually where the piece starts. The introduction, technically the introduction is before those 8th notes in measure 4. This is the pickup to the piece. And I'm trying to connect everything. You can't connect repeated notes, but otherwise I'm trying to. Just follow their fingering on measures 10. Again, I'm going to use second finger on the E flat because I want to stay out here. Here. Let's go down to the 3rd line. It's after the double bars. Measure 16 or so. 8th notes, or 16th notes. It's 1 and 2 and 3. Now, this rhythm. First off, you got tied notes and 16th notes and everything on them. When you're first trying to figure it out, if you have to, take out the ties and just play all the notes. So you have a half notes, 2 beats. 1 and 2 and. The 16th notes are 3 E and 3 E and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 2 and. That's what it is. If you take out the tie and play all the notes. And then once you have an idea of that, you put the tie in, you just hang on to it rather than play the note. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 2 and 3 and 1. And you'd work out the rhythm that way. Again, once you've got the rhythm, you don't count it anymore, you just feel it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then measure 19, same rhythm. 2 and 3. 2, 3. Now, they don't really need a natural in front of the B in measure 21. It's a B natural anyway, but they're being clear. Because you just had a B flat. Yeah, that's fine. You get back to what you were doing before. Now the last line, starting measure 25, you're here. I'm going to go ahead and put a thumb on that E for measure 26. This puts me in position for what's coming. That's why I'm going to use second finger on the E flat here. So I'm going to use a thumb there on measure 26. Don't have to, but I'm doing it. I do want a thumb for measure 27 though, for sure. That way I'm ready for the second finger for the E flat. Left hand, well, let's see, we're up here to start. 1, 2. Make sure you hold this F down. 2. That doesn't work. I don't want to go from here to here. I want to connect it. So rather than 5, I'm going to use 4. This way I can connect it. Rest. Now going down you can use 5. And watch out on measure 4 because that low note, that's just an eighth note. 1 and 2 and. So be careful on that. Measure 5, you're back up here. 2, rest, 2, rest, 4, 1 for the natural rest. A lot of good that's going to do. Let's go down to the third line after the double bars in the middle of the line. 1, 2, 3, 1. See, they don't give you fingering. I'm saying 5 and 3 because I'm looking ahead and I see for measure 18 I need this. So I'm in this position. This way I don't have to keep moving around. 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm still using third finger. 1. And in measure 19, again, you don't need the natural sign. It's a natural anyway, but they're being clear. Just make sure it's a natural. Now when I get to measure 20 on the D flats, I'm going to go ahead and use second finger because I want to keep my hand out here. If I use thumb, I got to come up here because the thumb is a short finger. So here. Here. The last few measures, starting with the quarter notes at the end. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to use 2, 1 for the dotted half note. This way I'm a little closer to that G. You're going to lift up and move. That's okay. Put the hands together. Let's see what happens. Now again, I may hesitate all over. That's fine. I don't care. Just here. See, I'm trying to connect all this together. Again, real slow. These. And then here. Because hold that down. And then here. Lift up. I'm going to cross over. And again, hold the notes down. You'll notice in the measure 3, next to the last measure of the first line, you have here, and then that E flat is a quarter note. Here, the stem goes down. We have 2 voices going on. We have the top voice and the bottom note, 2 voices. They're both playing the same note on the first beat, but then it splits. So they've got the stems going, so it shows both voices. And they need to be treated as 2 voices. So make sure you hold that E flat down. And then when you play the B, the left hand comes up. So it's by itself. You got to come up here anyway. So while you're playing this, you move it up. Make sure the rest in the left hand is there on beat 3. Those last 2 eighth notes on each of these measures, and the right hand needs to be by itself. Measure 9, you're here. So the quarter note's by itself. Now, measure 12. Both hands come up on beat 2. 1, 2. a half a beat of rest, and then the eighth note takes off. 1 and 2. But going on in the second ending, 1, 2, 3, and then lift up and just lift up. And as you play now, get this in position. And hold this down as you do the 16th notes. Holding all these notes down the correct length of time. So I work out the hands together, and then I'll go back over it probably like a section at a time or a measure or two at a time and work out the hesitation so it's a steady beat. And then once I have it all worked out on the beats, the rhythm, fingering, notes, all that, then I have the articulation. This is where the phrasing and the slurs come in. Lift up. Lift up, lift up. Different ways of interpreting the music, and this is an arrangement. I can take this first line like in 2 phrases or 2. Connect this. Connect all this. Now lift up. Connect this. Right? I can take like 2 sentences. These curved lines, they're slurs. Remember, a slur, you don't always lift up before and after a slur. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. In the second line with the 2-note slurs, remember, down, up, down, up. Here we are, of course you have to anyway because they're repeated notes. Just don't play the second note real short. No, play it out, just... The second line, connect all this together. Connect all that together. The left hand, there's not much you can do with it. You just connect. I prefer to connect them. Third line down after the double bars here. Connect all this together. Then lift up. Well, you have to, it's a repeated note. It's a new phrase. Then lift up. This lift up thing is really a slight motion. Practice it. It's really a slight little motion. And the faster you go, the smaller the motion. Then at the end, the last few measures, connect all that in the right hand. And that's sort of the articulation. Dynamics, well, again, it goes to the melody, and in this case, it is the right hand. Soft, whatever you think soft is. Then you swell, you know, da, 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 come down. Just a little bit up to moderately soft. Then back down to soft. Then swell. And now we're at moderately soft. You get swells in here, you're going up and back down. Now, in the last section, after the double bars in the third line, you're here where the 16th notes are. Moderately loud here, whatever you think that is. Not loud, just, and then measure 19, you're going to sort of echo that softly, sort of soft. And stay there. The idea is, why did they give you another MP? You're already in P. And the answer to that is because of the way you're interpreting it, you might have gotten different. Because when you get into interpreting, you might change things slightly. And they just want to make sure that in measure 23, for the 8th note, you're back down to like the moderately soft. Yeah. Left hand just stays out of the way. And the speed. Andante, just kind of a leisure pace. You have to find a speed where everything fits together, because it's going to be all one speed. I mean, some pieces that will tell you to change speeds for different sections or whatever, but this one isn't. It's all one speed. So however you take these in the second line, that, has to fit the third line for the last section. How fast are you going to take those? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. How fast you take those is how fast you go at the beginning. 1, 2, 1, 2. Two, three, just a nice general stroll is fine. Now again, where do you go when? Because you just don't play it straight through. You have repeat signs, you got first and second ending. I hope you understand what all those are. Apparently we've already had them because they're not introducing them. Measure 12, you have a repeat sign, sends you back to measure 5, the reverse repeat sign. Now if measure 5, if that reverse repeat sign were not there, then you had to go all the way to the beginning. But here you only go to measure 5, you need to do the second line again. And then the second time you do it, you skip the first ending because you've already done it, you're done with it. And immediately go to the second ending. So when you finish the second line, second time, go to the second ending. Well, it's the same notes at least to start, and then keep going. Now they've added pedal. You don't really need pedal. You can do it fine without, but they've added it, so let's see the effect the pedal has on the overall sound. Remember, pedaling indications in music, for the most part, are just suggestions. There's some editor's opinion of how it might be done. Your teacher may have other ideas. Your teacher may tell you, oh no, you always pedal it the way it's marked. I really disagree with that, but okay, it's up to your teacher. I usually change the pedaling quite a bit because I want a certain sound and the pedal can mess that up. You have to be careful. Here it's going to be the lag pedal again, where the notes go down first and then the pedal. I'm going to start the sound before I release the overtones. So in the first full measure, the notes first, and I'm going to release it right after I play the third beat. Like so. So at the beginning. And if I want to hear the phrasing, I got to lift the pedal up in that second full measure with the hands so I get a little silence here. And those eighth notes at the end of the first line need to be by themselves and no pedal. So the pedal comes up with the left hand. And then second line. If that's the sound you're after, go for it. I don't like it at all. I want to hear these phrasing. Now, even if you were to pedal and covered it up, you still do the down, up, down, up. But I want to hear it, and the pedal messes it up. So I'm not going to pedal this second line. Any of that because I want to hear the phrasing. There's different ways of interpreting the music. Now on the third line after the double bars, of course you don't pedal that because we don't want to smear the eighth note. We don't want all that. So we don't pedal any of that. They're telling you to pedal measure 18. I wouldn't pedal that either. And technically, you could get away with pedaling measure 18 because one of the reasons we pedal is to bring out to color, enhance the sound of the longer held notes. And this dotted half notes are longer held notes, so we could do that. But it changes it too much in my opinion, so I wouldn't pedal that note either. And then at the end, I would not pedal any of those. I want to hear the slurs, starting at measure 23. this, except the last two measures. So the last few measures, you can go ahead and pedal that. My problem here is it changes the sound too much. If I only pedal the last couple measures, but then the last, what, 3 measures or so, see, it adds overtones right there. Yeah. But I would like to connect this and this, so I need the pedal for that. So I don't change the sound too much, I'll go ahead and pedal like they're showing in the last few measures, starting with a half note in their right hand. I'm only going to pedal the quarter note. They have it showing where you're pedaling the quarter note and hanging on to the pedal. That's another effect. If you like that sound, go for it. It makes the quarter note sound like a half note because you're hanging on to the sound, even though you're not holding it down. See, you can still hear that. I'm not holding it down. I don't know that I like that. I mean, if they wanted that, they could have written in a half note. So in my mind, I would lift the pedal up with the left hand and only hold it down for 1 count. So I'm just adding overtones to that 1 quarter note. Changes sound slightly. It's a small change, but in piano we're looking for small changes. How does it affect the sound? Please don't copy me. You take it at your speed. Experiment with these dynamics because you can get a little louder and softer as you feel them. You get into the music. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics and I'm not going to do the pedal because you hear the notes better without the pedal, even 1 hand at a time. But we are going to do the repeat. So we'll do the whole thing. So I'm going to give us what 1.5 counts is ready and go. Yeah. Now because of the 8th notes all over everywhere, I'm going to put the metronome on 8th notes to slow it down a little bit. That's going to make the dotted half notes last forever, but it's better to keep the 8th notes slow so we can be sure we got them correct. So again, I'll give us ready and go, and those are 8th notes, and then we go. Ready and go. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And 2. 1 and 2. 2, repeat. And 2. And 2. 1 and 2 and 3. Second ending. And 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 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 and 2. And 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3